everything that happens to you, it's always happening for your highest and best. It's never happening to you, it's happening for you. I have to unteach people what they think they know and teach them how things really are. And all of a sudden it clicks and they get it. The only thing you can delay in life is learning your lessons. You can say, I'm not going to learn that. I don't want to know that.
Yeah.
Come back the next time you're going to have to do it.
Emotionally unavailable.
Well, it's so nice to meet you. I'm really excited for this conversation. For one, I just did this little session. Anytime a guest is like, "Hey, I offer, free whatever," and because as a thank you for having me on, I say yes. So I just did one like 20 minutes ago, and it was like some subconscious stuff, but we really got into kind of some of the topics that you and I am sure are going to discuss today. And so I was like, this is such a perfectly timed conversation, so I'm really excited. Um, if it's okay, I kind of wanted to ask what parapsychology is first because I feel like I know the answer, but I'm not sure. So can we start there?
Sure, it's basically the study of the paranormal, the unknown. Yeah.
Okay. And how did you, because you're a psychic medium, and
hmm
also let me just say this, if anyone comes up and you're like, oh, someone's around you and you want to say that, I'm open. So whatever you want.
Yeah, just so you know, I don't work that way. I've
Okay.
been very well trained. Otherwise, you'd never be able to turn it off.
That is so true. That is so
Yeah.
true. Okay, fair. Um, okay. How did you come to kind of understand this blueprint of like reincarnation, what we're here for, things like that?
So I get my answers from the other side. I died when I was 27 years old. I
Oh,
literally went to heaven, had a life review, was in what I now know to be the lowest level of heaven or the fifth dimension. And I have the opportunity to go back and forth to that dimension at will.
really?
And not only do I get information from going there from guides, angels, ascended masters, but they also come here.
Okay.
So we've had many, many long conversations. I don't always get my answers right away, but I will get the answers one way or another. They'll direct me to the answers that I need. It's
Yeah.
funny for many years I had always asked, it was a joke because every time I went to see another medium or anything, they're like, "Oh, if anybody has any questions." I'm like, "Yeah, tell me where new souls come from." Okay. "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, I don't know either." So finally I said to myself, "You know what? The only question I haven't really asked on the other side, where do new souls come from?" And they immediately gave me the answer that there are no new souls. Every soul was created at the same time. A lot of souls have chosen not to reincarnate or ever come here, and they stay on the other side. Other
Wow.
souls choose to reincarnate, and we reincarnate about every 350 to 400 of our years here, which is very different because it's
Yeah.
3.5 to 4 years of our years to 1 year on the other side.
Wow.
Time, the faster you move, the faster energy moves, the faster time goes. And we have souls that have chosen not to reincarnate any longer. They've come back enough. And that's the case with the ascended masters, with the exception of Jesus. He came back, but all the other ascended masters, they don't reincarnate any longer. They just help us from the other side.
Is that decided early on how many times you'll come back or maybe
It's
like did you
not
just get
because
tired?
well, yeah, well, either that. So every time we come through, we're coming through for different reasons. We're coming through, first of all, for a little mini vacation because when you don't have a body, there's things you can't do and enjoy, right? You have to live
Yeah.
vicariously through other people. We come through to collect our karmic debts, and we come through to pay the karmic debts that we owe. And there's nothing wrong with karma. We create karma in this lifetime that we're in. If we do something to someone else and we don't have remorse and we don't make amends, then we owe them a karmic debt in the next lifetime. And
Mm.
again, everything that happens to you, it's always happening for your highest and best. It's never happening to you, it's happening for you. So if you stole money from someone in a past lifetime, they're not going to just come into this lifetime and steal money from you. They're
Right.
probably going to be your boss or something and teach you how money works. Because money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And it's what we use in this
Yeah.
3D to show whether or not your life is in balance.
Oh.
So we also come through to learn 5 specific lessons that everyone has to learn for their soul to advance on the other side. And those were outlined in my latest book, All's Fair in Love and Karma. It talks about the 5 lessons. And just quickly, it's self-worth, trust and communication, and it's trusting that there is a higher power, and then trusting that you made the plan, um, unconditional love, money and balance. And like I said, money's energy, and it's what we should use to show whether or not our life is in balance. And the last one is patience. And it's very
Oh,
difficult for a lot of the people to learn those 5 lessons. Some people might master 1 or 2, but you have to learn them all in order for your soul to really advance on the other side.
wow. Is there a way to get a sense of c- cuz my parents died young, and through a conversation with a medium, I kind of came to the understanding like, yeah, okay, my mom, specifically my mom, because I feel like she's like on my spirit team. Um, she just didn't pass her test, right? Like she didn't learn what she needed to learn or whatever. I
Yeah.
mean,
So you can pass, you can die outside of your time, outside of what you've planned. It happens a lot. But they'll tell you point blank whether or not they died outside of their plan or not, or whether it was their plan to die when they died.
okay. So is there a way to know from your previous times here, or get a sense, I guess, is not like no concretely maybe, but whether or not the times before that you've incarnated, if you kind of like met those goals as a soul?
Um, you can recognize someone who's a more advanced souls, but it doesn't mean that you did or didn't meet the goals you had for your last life. So there is something called the Akashic Records, and that is your book of life. And every religion talks about the book of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that record room is actually kept in the fifth dimension, the lowest level of heaven. And I do read those books. I got there accidentally the first time. But I can read people's past lives and talk
Okay.
about other people that were in their lives. You can ask questions. You can ask all of those questions, whether or not you met your goals in your last life or what it was you had planned, things like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm kind of just learning about that. So that makes sense to me that, yeah, you can review kind of those things. Okay, well, that's cool.
Right. We reincarnate every lifetime, differently, sometimes male, sometimes female, and we bring through traits from each lifetime to lifetime.
Oh,
Okay.
really?
And what I mean by that is, for instance, my last few lifetimes, I was a male, not a female. And I brought a lot of those traits through to this lifetime. So, for instance, when I was married, I was the first one to go pick the hammer up and, fix something or build something. And, I came through as a female in this lifetime to play that role. And that's what you're doing. You're playing a role. And every time I did that, I was taking the opportunity away from my spouse to play the role he came here to play. He came here to play the man, and I was
Yeah.
taking that opportunity away from him.
Yeah. So you had a
Yeah,
lot of
so, I
masculine
mean,
energy.
you have to you have to understand why you're here, what role you're playing, what it is you're supposed to be learning. Those things are all very important so that you can help the other people in your life achieve their goals as well and not enable them to, sidestep that. Or you can't make it easier for anyone, and you
Yes, I'm
cannot learn
learning
their
that.
lessons. Yeah, and you cannot learn their lessons for them, and when you try to do that, all you're doing is delaying their lessons.
Yeah. So what do you think about the idea of like when you're raising children and you've gotten to this like, stage of enlightenment or whatever, like about at least talking about your experience and what you feel like you've learned in terms of what we're doing here. Like, can they really perceive that?
Oh, absolutely. My
Okay.
children were very intuitive. I had 3 boys that I raised, and my abilities weren't fully opened when I was raising them. However, I did have a very heightened intuition. I had been a medium since I was a child, but I blocked it because I was afraid of it. But they were very open to things that were happening. You know, one of
Mm,
my middle one had an imaginary friend named Urfi that would follow us around and have dinner at the table, and knowing what I know now, I know it was a spirit of it could have been a child, it could have been something playing as a child because demons will do that, I don't know. Knowing what I know now, I would have banished it immediately instead of, "Oh, how isn't this cute?"
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but I did not tell him, "Oh, you're not seeing it," or, "Oh, you're not talking to," because I knew he was seeing it. We'd lived in I attract spirits, so we lived in a lot of haunted houses, and when you've got one spirit, you've got many spirits.
Yeah.
And, I was just trying to get them so that they weren't scared of them because it can be frightening when things are turning on and moving in your home and, yeah,
Well, yeah.
blowing up.
Yeah, I would be a little afraid of that as a child for sure. Well, I
Yeah,
mean, and I was allowed to watch movies that I should not have been able to watch at such a young age. So I was just terrified of anything supernatural, anything. And then
yeah,
was also very programmed to believe that anything outside of the here and the now, besides Jesus and God, was absolutely against our religion. And so I didn't even look at my horoscope, well, like, as a teenager because I wasn't allowed to. Like, I mean, I wanted to. I've always
yeah.
felt drawn to anything outside of
Well,
here,
and that's a
but I
problem
wasn't
with a
allowed.
lot of a
You
lot
know?
of religions wanna keep you afraid.
Yeah, I've
Yeah,
learned that. I've learned that. Well,
yeah.
and they wanna keep you from the truth because you might feel
Well, and
empowered.
I mean, it's a problem. It's a real problem. I have a lot of souls that I end up having to cross over of people that were homosexual. And they're afraid to go into the light because they were taught that their religion, that it was against God.
Yeah.
So they're stuck here as ghosts because they're afraid to go into the light. And I've got to
Wow.
explain to them that's not true. That's not true. You're loved no differently than anybody else.
Yeah.
Go into the light, live, love, enjoy. It's amazing on the other side.
God. So
Truly
even
is.
on the other side, we're living in fear. Good Lord.
No, well, no. So on the other side, they're the same as they were here. Okay, when you die, you just lose your body. You're the same there as you were here. So yes, some of them are still living in fear. Some of them are living in anger. Some of them living in guilt. Lots of things. Lots of things. And they have really. I mean, there's counseling on the other side. Believe it or not,
I do
before
believe
they
it.
reincarnate. Yes, before they reincarnate, like, if someone has taken their own life, that's against your plan. That is never written into anyone's soul plan. So before they can reincarnate, they literally have to go into counseling with the ascended masters before they're allowed to reincarnate again. And I
Wow.
know this because one of the first people that when I was meditating, um, he was one of the first people to come through. It was a friend that I went to high school and grew up with. He was like a brother to me, and he took his own life, and he came through crying and upset and
Mm.
remorseful, and, I took that on and I hadn't been fully trained. I didn't know how to get rid of it. I was walking around for 3 days crying with all of his energy.
Oh.
Um, but he came back through again about maybe 4 or 5 years later, after his parents had passed. I went to see his grave because I didn't make his funeral, and it was open, and I was shocked, and I went in to find out what was going on, and his parents had both just passed. I didn't ask the
Oh, wow.
circumstances. But, he came through right then and there at the gravesite to talk to me and tell me that, he was good, his parents are with him, and, that he had gone through counseling and understood that what he did was not the right thing to do the way he did it and things like that, so,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that because I mean, you definitely got to figure out why that was the choice and how you're not going to do that again if you incarnate again.
Most
So,
most of the people that I find that have taken their own life were under the influence of drugs and or alcohol.
hmm,
And a lot of them don't even realize that they've taken their own life. I had one guy thought he got hit by lightning. He had
oh
hung
my
himself.
gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and
I've
he had
heard of
he
stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't understand on the other side that he what had happened because he was on medication and that he drank, and, I mean, he was gonna marry his fiancée, he bought her a ring, everything. She didn't even know. Yeah,
Wow. Is
yeah,
it
was not his
sort of the
intention.
same? Like, my dad died of a morphine overdose, so it was accidental. Is it would he need
It could have been outside his plan. It
Yeah.
could very well have been outside of his plan. People getting I had, when I first started doing this work, I was doing it for free, and people were giving donations to the church for it. And 2 weeks in a row, I had these 4 girls standing in front of me, and I'm like, "Who are you people?" Well, the first one, it was the aunt of one of the girls. And she was saying how, she died outside her plan. She knew she shouldn't have gotten in the car. Her soul was telling her, "Don't get in." And she got in anyways, and the 4 of them hit a tree.
Oh.
And then the next week, I had this other woman come in to see me. I don't know any of these people, and all of a sudden, I got the same 4 girls standing in front of me. I'm like, "What's going on? Why are you people back?" And, she was the mom of one of the other girls.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
died 3 of the 4, or 2 of the 4. 2 were meant to go, 2 were not meant to go. 2 died outside their plan. They were not supposed to have been in the car that night.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's tough for them on the other side too, because they have all this remorse feeling that there was so much more they should have done and could have done and
Mhm.
would have been doing here had that not happened. Eventually, they get over it. But when you're on the other side, you're still living very connected to this lifetime for a long time. That's why we don't reincarnate too quickly. We wait until everybody we know and a couple of generations have gone, and when everybody's forgotten about us all over again, then we come back.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So what is because I've heard that when we go to the other side, the reason that we're sticking around is we're now I'm gonna phrase it this way, helping from the other side, like trying to do some of what we were going to do on this side from that side. How would you explain?
Not really. There's not much they can really do on this side from the other side that they were going to do. They let that go. But yes, they're always trying to help. If you need their help, all you have to do is ask. They're more than happy to step in. And those are guides. They work as guides. For instance, when I was writing my first book that I published, I was writing my autobiography at the same time, and I just kept hearing, "You've got to write the book. You've got to write the book." I'm like, "I'm writing the book." They're like, "No, no, no, no. You got to write another book." I'm like, "What? What do you want from me?" Now I want you to write a book about what I was teaching because I was teaching psychic development and mediumship, and they wanted
Mm.
me to write a book that my students could take as like a guidebook. So I'm like, "Listen, if you want me to do that, you're gonna have to help me because I'm taking care of my mom, she's dying, I'm teaching this, I'm still running my business, and I'm writing this other book." So I asked to channel through the highest guide that I could to help me write this book. I don't know who it was, honestly. I have no clue. I didn't really even ask. All I knew was that guide knew what he was doing and was there to help me. And I wrote and published the book in 6 weeks.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
But that's what happens when you ask for help.
Yeah.
It's like angels. Angels are a completely separate race. They were never human. Their entire existence is to help us. But if you don't ask, they can't help. That's their rule. So if you want help, if you want to heal, if you want something, you've got to ask those specific angels and they'll be there in a heartbeat. Anytime I need a parking place, I ask the angels for parking place. Boom, there's the front row every single solitary time.
Wow. I've got to get better about that. I think once I left religion, it became something I had a hard time. Well, first of all, I have trouble asking for help anyway. But then, like, in those moments, it's not my natural instinct anymore to say, come help me. I'm trying to get better about that.
When you learn how to work with them and learn how energy works and the law of attraction, because it's all connected, they will help you with absolutely everything. Anytime I lose anything, I call on Saint Anthony, and I have it immediately. Immediately pops into my head where to look, and there it is. And it doesn't matter what it
You
is.
are not the first person who has said that exact saying. That's so funny.
Yeah. And when my faith is faltering, they'll make a point. It used to be my diamond earrings. I would lose a diamond earring. Now, mind you, this is the second pair of screwbacks on them. okay? Now I have rubber stoppers in back of the screwbacks. Don't ask me how they'd get them out, but every single time I would have an earring go missing, and I don't think I'm looking for it, not finding it, right? I'm like, "Why am I doing this?" Sit down, ask Saint Anthony, and sure enough, within minutes, less than 30 minutes, there it is.
Wow. Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start doing that. What's another common thing that you do like that for help?
Um, Mother Mary and, Saint Archangel Raphael, those 2 work together for healing.
Okay.
So I always call on the 2 of them to help with healing people, healing myself.
Okay, so you can ask for healing for other people as well?
Absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
great. Well, then I
And
will.
Archangel Michael, before you meditate, everyone should be calling on Archangel Michael to protect them from any lower vibrations, any attachments, any harm, every time before you meditate. Because when you open yourself up to meditation, you're opening yourself up to the universe, both good and bad. And if you have a good heart, you're a target for evil. This is what's happening in this world. It's a huge war right now of good and evil. It's not it plays out in politics, but it's
Yeah.
good and evil around the
Yeah.
world. And what's the prize? Your soul. Your soul. It's always been the prize. God wants it, the devil wants it. That's the prize. Which way you going?
Yeah. Man. So how are I saw that you do work on relationships, like, using your spiritual gifts through relationships?
So, I'm a relationship expert. I have a 7-week online program called the Relationship Mastery Program, and it's credited with reconciling hundreds of relationships working with one person. I only work with one person in the relationship. That's it. Because it's always a leader and a follower in the relationship. And it's always the leader that will contact me. And then when they understand why things are happening in their relationship, they can change them. Because it only takes one person to change anything. When
Yeah.
you do something differently, the action creates a different reaction. So one person can change that. And it's all about energy. Everyone that's in your life is on that same energetic thread.
Mhm.
And everything is a relationship. It's not just, married people or people that are dating or lovers. Everything's a relationship. You're in a relationship with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your employees. I've had a lot of business people take the program so that they can understand the relationships between
I
their
love that.
employees, their customers, and what I teach them is how energy works and how to raise their vibration. Because everyone that's in your life right now is on the same energetic thread as you. It's like a radio station. You can't get the station in unless you're on the same frequency.
Mhm.
Frequency, energy, vibration, it's just all different names for the same thing. So when you raise your vibration, if someone's supposed to stay in your life, their vibration will rise as well. Otherwise, they're just going to drop off and new people will come in. This is
Oh.
how the law of attraction works. If you don't like what's in your life, you have to raise your vibration and bring in better.
Yeah. Well, I kind of wondered about that because whenever I kind of had my spiritual awakening and things really started shifting for me, um, I could feel like the vibrations in my house had raised. Like I could just feel that we were living in a different frequency.
And
But
you probably lost a lot of friends.
I did. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot.
They'll
I
drop off first because you have to have a void in order for the universe to fill it. So they'll drop off, you'll have a void, and they'll bring in higher vibrational friends for you.
Yeah. Well, we're waiting on that part. I mean, I've made a lot of online friends, so that's good. I just don't
Yeah.
have any like, high vibe friends really that I get to hang out with very much.
Ask the universe and they'll bring them in for you. That's
I
how it
sure will.
works.
Well, how does okay, so I also someone recommended I listened to an audiobook. It was like Love Money Money Loves Me Too or something. And it was talking about the frequency of money and a lot of like to think of money so differently. And I feel like I learned a lot about the energy of money. How does that like the energy of money specifically work in terms of like the law of attraction or whatever?
So, again, money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And it's what we use to show whether or not your life is in balance. So, you don't walk into a grocery store and plop down $1 million, right, to buy a bunch of bananas, right? Because everything has to be an equal exchange of energy. Has to be an equal exchange of energy.
Mhm.
So I have to laugh when people are like, "Oh, you should give your readings for free." Well, they have no value at that point. It
Right.
has to be an equal exchange. When I first started my program, I gave it to a couple of veterans at no charge. You know, they didn't do the program at all.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it had
They
no
wouldn't
value to
value
them.
it. Yeah.
So this is where money is energy, and it has to flow like a river. Okay, the more you put out, the more it comes back. What happens if you keep building up energy? Eventually it explodes, right? That's what happens. So if you keep hoarding in your life, it just goes to the next lesson that you have to learn for your soul, which is self-worth,
Mhm.
because you don't value yourself enough to spend the fruits of your labor on yourself.
Yeah.
So it's a whole circle that goes around. If you're working too many hours because you just want to be getting more money and putting that away, then your whole life is out of balance. You have no time for your friends, no time for your hobbies. This is where everything's out of balance.
Yeah. So when you say it shows like it's dependent upon how imbalanced you are, how do you like define what an imbalanced life maybe would look like?
You want to make sure that everything that you enjoy in your life is covered, whether that's family, friends, hobbies. Enjoy. You should be doing whatever it is you do for work. You should love what you do. That way, you're not working. Okay,
Yeah.
you love what you do. That's what you should be doing. And, you always have to focus on yourself first and look at things from that perspective. If people are in your life that are just giving you stress and they're not contributing to you and your well-being, then you get rid of them. It's everything. You have to look at everything from your own viewpoint first. It is not selfish or narcissistic to put yourself first. It's where everything else starts. If you don't put yourself first, you're not going to be here for anybody else, are you? It's that simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like one of the biggest takeaways I took from that audiobook was about valuing and like learning how to understand how you value the things that you're purchasing, but also how you value yourself in relation. Like maybe you value this thing really highly, but if you don't value yourself high enough, then you won't feel worthy to spend the money on that thing. And you're
Exactly,
just
gets back
backing up.
down to self-worth. Yep,
Yes,
the lesson
exactly.
of self-worth. Yep.
Yes. So do you can I ask you an honest question? Do you feel like
Mhm.
in terms of the things that you outline in your book, the 5 things, do you feel like you're pretty imbalanced in all those areas?
I do, absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
everyone that's gone through my program is as well, and that's the reason that I wrote the book, because it was from the program. I did the program first, and it's like, wow, everybody that's gone through this program is learning these 5 lessons, and once they do, their life is amazing.
Yeah.
When you learn how the energy shift is, your energy shifts, and then you have to learn how to balance your energy. And that's a challenge. Lots of people will teach the law of attraction, but if you don't balance your energy, you can't maintain the law of attraction. Because when you're up this high, eventually you're going to crash.
Right.
This high has to become your balanced area
Yeah.
of energy.
And not just
And
what
then you don't
God wants
crash. You
to.
maintain it.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you do that?
That's what I teach. It takes
Okay.
7 weeks to teach it, and it's an intense program.
Yeah. So it's just
There's
ma
work to do.
making sure you've got that harmony, balance, whatever, and a constant practice probably in the way that you teach it. But yeah, that makes sense to me that you would
Yeah,
develop like a hygiene to
and some people some of my students, quite honestly, after COVID hit, reverted back to the ways they were doing things prior to my program,
yeah,
and their life went right back to what it was. And they have lifetime access to the program, so they had to redo the program again. But the reality is this: once the universe has given you a gift, if you don't appreciate it, it's gonna be a little bit harder for you to get that gift the second time.
yeah,
It's doable, but it's a lot more work.
yeah, that makes sense to me. Well, because there's probably a lot that you've got to uncover and learn before you can get back into
It's a matter of changing your entire perspective on life, on
yeah,
everything.
Yeah.
I have to unteach people what they think they know and teach them how things really are. And all of a sudden it clicks and they get it.
Yeah. That makes sense to me. How do you feel like you balance being human and so in touch with your spirituality? Because it's easy for me, it's still easy for me to go through a human experience in a very human manner and then reflect and go, but we know blah blah blah, but boy, I'm real
Yeah.
human in that moment.
I don't so much. I have to constantly remind myself that I am human. I got to do this a little different. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. But I
Yeah.
have to keep reminding myself that, yeah, I'm here in this 3D body. I'm here for a reason. I just have to continually trust that everything that's happening in my life, it may seem stressful, but you know what? It's happening for a reason. Let it go. Eventually, it will work itself out, and you will see why the angels planned it and did it the way they did it.
Yeah, I love that. That's really good framing because I think that's kind of the point is to understand that just because you're real tapped in and you have a real good understanding doesn't mean you're not still going to go through shit.
Yeah,
And, you know,
exactly. That's the reason we're here. We're here to go through the shit.
right.
Um,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
That is but to me feeling like once you reach enlightenment that you're not going to go through more shit is the same as thinking once I heal I'm gonna be perfect. Once I fix these things about myself.
So everybody, first of all, should know that you are perfect. You're perfect. You're perfect the way you are, and you're always right where you're supposed to be.
Mm,
So you should never have regrets of I should have done this, I could have done. No, no, you're just going to loop yourself right back because you're always where you're supposed to be. Okay. The only thing you can delay in life is learning your lessons. You can say, I'm not going to learn that. I'm not going to, I don't want to know that. I'm not, and
yeah.
come back the next time you're going to have to do it. Eventually, you got to learn those lessons. But that's all you can really do is delay it. So you shouldn't have regrets. You chose this body, take care of it. You only get one. Take care of it to the best of your ability. Enjoy it while you're here. You're literally here for the blink of an eye when you think about the eons of
Mhm.
eternity. And literally, you're here for such a very short period of time. And, time is a relative thing. We created clocks here to try to measure it, right? But
Mhm.
like I said, the faster you move, the faster time, I mean, the slower time is. Okay. So even moving at a high vibration, we're still here. We're just here for such a quick time.
Yeah.
Enjoy the things that you wouldn't be able to enjoy once you're not here. On the other side, you don't have a body, so you can still go look at the mountains and you can see, you can watch your kids play. You can still do all that. You just can't do the physical stuff. So if there's something physical here that you want to do and enjoy, do it while you have the body here to do it because that's the thing you can't do once you're on the other side of the physical things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such a good point because there is more to what we're doing, like enjoying the fact that you have a body.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I mean,
that.
and people are like, oh, no, don't sex, no, no. You have a body to enjoy sex. If it didn't feel so good, you should, you know what I mean? You wouldn't be doing it if it didn't feel so good, right? So you're supposed to be doing it.
Right. That is such a good point because I think sex and other things that we appreciate, desire, we assign this like morality piece to it where we think, oh, if it's good, it must be bad for me. And I'm just learning more and more and more like you need to get everything you can, like the most amount of joy that you can get out of this experience because that's the point is to
Without
heal
harming
so you can
others.
do
And
that.
that's
Yes,
that's the
absolutely.
key. Without
Absolutely.
harming others.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I don't condone people just sleeping around and things like that because you're harming others when you do that. You may not realize it, but you are, whether it's
Right.
physically or mentally or emotionally or. So there needs to be some
Some limits.
e- well, there has to be that equal exchange of energy. If you're both on that same page, fine. Um but yeah,
I
you need
love
to
it.
enjoy your life while you're here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. So, what do you feel like has been the biggest shift in the way you see the world?
I understand that I'm an actor in a play. We're all actors in a play. And if someone's attacking me for some reason, I understand that it's just their own fear. While we're here, we all have brains in our heads, right? But that brain, other than being a computer to help you process all your information, your brain has a very specific job. That job is to protect you. How
Hmm.
does it do that? It creates fear. So the majority of the population is living their life in fear. Okay. And you can't love and have fear at the same time because the opposite of love is not hate, it's fear.
Yep.
It's fear. And you have to get rid of the fear. The same reason that people don't see entities. I mean, first of all, the shape of your eyeball and the way the light reflects off of things will allow you to only see certain things in this, in outside of this dimension. Okay. However, as that veil thins, like I volunteer my time for people that are dying and that they don't have family with NODA, no one dies alone. And I can, psychically talk to them even if they're in, like, a comatose state. And they can see and know everybody that's in their room because most of their soul is not in their body anymore,
Right.
okay? You have some soul in your body, some of it's over your body that people can see, and they call it an aura, and the majority of your soul is actually in the 5th dimension, the lowest level of heaven, and orchestrates the timing of the events, and it has all the knowledge of all your lifetimes. But for instance, my dad was dying and I went to see him one day and he said, I want to talk to you about what it is you do. And I'm like, oh, okay. What do you want to know? It's like, I want to know why I see my mother standing next to my bed every time I wake up in the morning. And I'm like, well, it's about time, Dad. She's been standing here for over a year. I said, she's going to help you go into the light when it's your time to transition. He goes, no, 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 no. That's not what I want to know. I said, well, what do you want to know, Dad? Well, I want to know why she's there, but after about 10 seconds, she disappears. I said, Dad, she didn't disappear. She's still standing right next to me. Your brain kicks in with the fear, and that's what blocks you from seeing it, from seeing her.
Mm,
And that's what blocks most people here from seeing ghosts, angels, souls that are here to visit, um, your fear. When you can
yeah.
let go of that, you'll start seeing more, you'll start seeing its energy, you'll start seeing the energy.
This is a stupid question, but so you see them in your physical reality and not just in your mind?
Both, it really depends,
Okay. Okay.
because your pineal gland is actually like a reflection pool, so they'll reflect images sometimes that way. For instance, when I was just, at the hospital not too long ago with, a person that was passing, and, I was discussing with them who was in the room because Archangel Michael is always there, he helps them go to the other side. But they had their parents were both there that they had a strained relationship with, but they were still both there to help them come through. And they suddenly started showing me in my mind this image of this little girl dancing. And I'm like, I know you're waiting for this person. Are they on the other side? Are they on this side? I didn't get the answer. And all of a sudden he said, and I heard niece. And I'm like, "Oh, so this is your niece. You probably must have raised her. I don't know. Is she on the other side? Is she here? I didn't know. And I was getting that image, in my head. And all of a sudden somebody knocked at the door and opened it up and she said, "Hi, I'm her niece." And I'm like, "Oh, there's my answer.
Oh,
There
okay.
she's here and that's what you were waiting for." And sure enough, within an hour she passed. And she was waiting for her.
Yes,
Yeah.
none
So
of
I
this is
see
a
them both
surprise
ways.
to me because even before I, like, leaned into spirituality, so I used to work for hospice for a long time, and, the first hospice I ever worked for, we would do, like, some people call it vigil, bedside vigil. So,
Right.
like, we
Yeah.
would sit for however, like, we would take a 12-hour on-call shift, and however long you were there, you were there. And I started to see and really get the sense that people have a lot more control over that timing than you thought. And, like,
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
when you see them pass within 5 minutes after holding on for days, but somebody shows up and within 5 minutes. Or I had the exact opposite experience where, they seem totally stable. I say, "Sure, wife, you can leave to take a shower," and the minute she's out the door, that's it.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
I think they
My
get more
parents
control than
died
they think.
my parents died the same age, the same day, 1 year apart.
You're kidding me.
And I was with my mom. She knew I wanted to see her soul leave her body, which I did. But, I knew the day that my dad died, and I didn't know the time. He had died like 10 minutes past midnight. So when midnight came and it was past midnight, I'm like, okay, mom, you can go. It's the same day. Well, she didn't want to go at the same time. She waited till about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I was gonna go let my dogs out. I got up, I put my coat on, I took my coat off, I put it down, I sat on the bed, I took her hand, I said, "It's time. It's time for you to go." And she took that one last breath, and I saw the rest of her soul leave her body, and that was it.
That is wild. The same day.
And she's now sitting right next to me because as soon as you start talking about them, they show up. I
Really?
happen to be sitting here with her lap blanket on, so now she's sitting next to me.
That makes so much sense to me because every time I start talking about my parents, I'm like, "Okay." Like, I haven't learned to, like, tap in to be able to communicate, see them, anything, but I can feel them.
So you can, meditating or talking to him, if you have a lamp somewhere in your house, like a touch lamp that's easy to do on and off, or night lights are easy, flashlights, you can try and work a system with them where you ask them questions and they can blink the light once for yes and twice for no. I have a lot of my students do that.
Really? Well, I haven't
Yeah.
heard of that one. Okay, I will try that.
Yeah.
That'd be so
Yep.
fun. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. It is.
well, and
Yeah.
I've done, like, journaling, I've done other things, like, it's not like, the fear that I have is of being wrong, like, looking stupid, thinking I'm communicating. This is a big
And that's
theme in
ego.
my life.
And that's ego. You
Absolutely.
have to in order to do what I do, I have to completely let go of my ego. I can remember being on stage one time. I had an audience of about 3 or 400 people, and, I called on the gentleman in the front row who was a widower, and he wanted to talk to his wife. So I just have them say her name 3 times, and, I describe who shows up, and I'm standing there saying to myself, "Oh my god, do I tell him what I see, or do I just say she didn't show up?" And I'm like, "I gotta give what I get, right, wrong, or indifferent, I gotta give what I get." And I'm like, all I see is a pair of hands holding out this beautiful dress, and I'm hearing prom dress. That's all I'm getting. He started bawling his eyes out. He's like, "That's my wife." He goes, "That was her favorite saying every time she left the house. I'm off like a prom dress." And
Wow.
after I did that, she wanted him to know it was her. Then she showed her full self to me, and we were able to have a conversation, and she had a lot of things she had to say about the kids and things, but yeah,
That's so cool. Off like a prom dress, that cracks me
not like a
up.
prom dress. But you've gotta let your ego go and give what you get, and too many people can't do that, and that's why they're not giving information that's accurate.
And it's the ego that's making you overanalyze.
Yep,
Ooh,
you can't. You
yep,
have to give what you get.
you are so right. Ooh, I love that.
Yep.
Well, June, I've loved having you today. Before we go, tell us where we can find you.
You can go to my website, juneedward.com. There's no S in there, juneedward.com. There is a free webinar that people can sign up to watch. There's lots of videos, there's reviews. You can get any of my books. All 4 of my books have links there, and you can also schedule an appointment with me if you'd like. I do astrology, I do destiny card readings, mediumship, anything that
Oh,
you
I
have
love
going on
that.
in your life.
Yeah, you do it all, girl. Well, I will make sure that I put that link in the show notes too. But and I always do whatever free stuff I can and I love to take a quiz. So I always view like websites and just see like, oh, there's a meditation or there's whatever. So I'll check it out too. I'm really excited. And I just appreciate you being here today.
Oh, it was my pleasure. Thank you. It was great to meet you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna
I
put
love how you spell your name too, Malisa, I love that.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.